Welcome back. You're watching Sky News Tonight. Hospitals in England have recorded their worst ever accident and emergency waiting times. Just under 85% of A&E patients were admitted within 4 hours last month. That's well below the target of 95%. March also saw the highest number of emergency admissions on record, as Rebecca Williams reports.
That's one of my dad then in the back of the ambulance.
An example of the pressures on the NHS. Darren Williams' 80-year-old father, John, fell over at home last week. He's pictured here on the ambulance that he waited 23 hours to arrive. And Darren says it was a further 7 before he was fully admitted to hospital. He died a few days later.
He was seen by a doctor in the back of the ambulance, and he did go for a CT scan, but then was returned to the back of the ambulance. In total, he was in there for nearly 8 hours. If my father had been seen before, we don't know, the 11 hours on the floor, the fact that, he was nearly 36 hours without any medication. We don't know if that's contributed to his passing. And I can't help but think that,
Mr. Williams was brought here to the Morriston Hospital. They say they did all they could for him, but his condition deteriorated quickly. Here in Wales and across the United Kingdom, waiting times for A&E have got worse in the last year. And figures today show that in England, things in March reached record levels.
Just 84.6% of patients were admitted within 4 hours. That's 5% lower than in March last year. And both of those are well short of the NHS target of 95%. There are, of course, reasons for the poor performance figures. Things like the snowy weather and high rates of norovirus haven't helped. With 23.8 million people attending A&E in England in the last year, there's an unprecedented demand.
I am worried, and it is getting worse. It's getting worse for patients, it's getting worse for staff. We really have got to put a stop to it, and that means some big interventions nationally. At the moment, there's a complete mismatch between what the NHS can deliver and what the population expect. We're the 6th richest country in the world, but we're not providing the 6th best health service by a long, long way.
The Department of Health has said that the Prime Minister and the Health and Social Care Secretary have committed to a long-term plan with a sustainable multi-year settlement for the NHS to help it manage growing patient demand, which will be agreed with NHS leaders, clinicians and health experts. But many insist that this year, the planning simply wasn't up to scratch. Rebecca Williams, Sky News.